In a bold and controversial move, President Donald Trump has reignited a transatlantic trade war by imposing a 25% tariff on European car imports. This decision has sent shockwaves through the global economy, escalating tensions between the US and the European Union. The Trump administration claims the tariffs are necessary to address trade imbalances and protect American industries. However, the EU has responded with swift and aggressive retaliation, setting the stage for a full-scale economic battle with far-reaching consequences. The European Union, led by European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, has imposed €26 billion, $28 billion, in tariffs on American goods. These tariffs are strategically designed to hit Republican-leaning states, Trump's political base. Soybeans from Louisiana, beef and poultry from Kansas and Nebraska, and agricultural exports from Georgia and Alabama now face steep new duties. This targeted approach challenges Trump's strongest supporters, signaling the EU's readiness to play hardball. The EU's retaliation extends beyond agriculture. Key American industries, including technology, consumer goods, and Harley-Davidson motorcycles, are also targeted. This mirrors past strategies, such as when the EU imposed tariffs on bourbon whiskey and Levi's jeans in response to Trump's earlier steel and aluminum tariffs. However, the stakes are now higher. The US auto industry is among the hardest hit. American car manufacturers like Ford, General Motors, and Tesla rely heavily on European parts, including German transmissions, Italian components, and French electronic systems. The new tariffs will skyrocket production costs, leading to potential price hikes, delays, and layoffs. Tesla, a leader in electric vehicles, is particularly vulnerable. It depends on European-made semiconductors and battery components, which are now subject to heavy import taxes. If Tesla absorbs these costs, its profitability could suffer. If it passes them on to consumers, demand may decline. Either way, the outlook is grim. European automakers like BMW, Volkswagen, and Mercedes-Benz are also feeling the heat. These companies manufacture vehicles in the US for export to Europe. With the EU imposing a 25% tariff on American-made cars, their competitiveness in Europe is at risk. European consumers, already grappling with inflation, may opt for more affordable local or Asian alternatives, further squeezing US automakers. The agricultural sector is another casualty. American farmers, many of whom are Trump supporters, face significant financial pain. The EU's tariffs on soybeans, beef, and poultry threaten to disrupt one of their most important export markets. States like Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas, often called the breadbasket of America, are especially vulnerable. If demand drops, farmers could face collapsing prices, financial hardships, and even farm closures. This isn't the first time American farmers have been caught in a trade war. During Trump's earlier tariffs on China, retaliatory measures led to a sharp decline in US agricultural exports. Many farmers are still recovering, and this new conflict with Europe could push them over the edge. The trade war's impact extends beyond cars and crops. The energy sector is also under pressure. The US is a major exporter of liquefied natural gas, LNG, to Europe, but with tensions rising, European leaders are exploring alternative suppliers like Qatar and Australia. If Europe reduces its reliance on US energy exports, American energy companies could lose billions in revenue. The technology sector is equally at risk. The US and Europe have long collaborated on innovation, cybersecurity, and semiconductor manufacturing. However, the trade war threatens to disrupt these partnerships. The global semiconductor industry, for instance, relies on a delicate balance of US chip design, European manufacturing equipment, and Asian production. Tariffs could lead to shortages, supply chain disruptions, and higher costs for tech companies worldwide. The trade war is not just an economic dispute, It's a test of the long-standing alliance between the US and Europe. For decades, the two have worked together on issues ranging from defense to climate policy. However, this conflict is straining those ties, with potential spillover effects on global security and diplomacy. China, meanwhile, is watching closely. As the US and Europe clash, Beijing is seizing the opportunity to strengthen its trade relationships with the EU. If Europe turns to China as a stable alternative to the US, it could fundamentally shift global trade dynamics, leaving America at a disadvantage. As the April deadline for additional EU tariffs approaches, businesses, workers, and consumers on both sides of the Atlantic are bracing for impact. The Trump administration remains defiant, framing the tariffs as a necessary step to protect American jobs. However, critics argue that the long-term consequences, lost jobs, higher consumer prices, and strained global alliances, could outweigh any short-term gains. The question now is whether diplomacy can prevail or if the conflict will spiral into a deeper economic crisis. With neither side showing signs of backing down, the world is watching closely. One thing is clear: in a trade war, there are no winners, only uncertainty, instability, and pain for all involved.